How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Well, unfortunately, it's that time of year again. It's getting cold outside, and here in November in Iowa, things go to hell pretty quick. So I wanted to make a quick video here for you guys to show you how I prepare my tractor for wintertime. Obviously, if you're in the southern part of the United States or a different part of the world or country where things do not get so cold, maybe this isn't as much of an issue. But here in eastern Iowa, we can see temperatures. I mean, I think last winter with wind chill, we saw as low as like negative 45 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely cold. Obviously, you talk that type of cold weather, diesels are going to perform pretty poorly anyways. But what we want to do here is get this in as tip-top shape as possible. So when it gets cold, it'll start, then also stay running when you're outside. I mean, obviously, I keep my tractor here in a garage, which is ideal. And if you don't have that, a block heater is always a good thing for storage outside. And I do have a block heater on mine. And when it is extremely cold outside, I would plug it in, but the garage I keep heated to 45 degrees. In case you're wondering, it's cold and I'm participating in No Shave November. And so in the spirit of all things cold, I figured I'm working from home anyway, so I figured I would go ahead and take the opportunity to grow a beard myself. It's pretty scraggly and I look pretty homeless, but that's all right. So in this video, I'm gonna give you guys 10 things that I do to prepare my tractor for wintertime. A lot of it's gonna be very much a routine maintenance type thing, I guess you would call it. But nonetheless, it is something we should go over. And I guess what I'm getting at here is a lot of the stuff is even more important as your tractor gets into more extreme conditions. Obviously, when it's really hot and really cold, you wanna make sure things have the optimal lubrication and or levels that you're wanting to operate within to make sure you're protecting your tractor. I mean, because really it isn't an investment, right? And you don't want it to destroy your investment. So stick around, we'll get to it right after this. So I'm gonna go through this list that I prepared with some input of other people. And I guess here again, it's just been an accumulation of knowledge to where I've gotten to where I'm at, and it seems like a good list to go by. So this list, in no particular order on importance, I'm just gonna go through the list of 10. We'll start with the first one, is greasing your tractor. Obviously, you've probably seen on the channel, I've got several videos discussing greasing, you know, how important it is and to maintain your tractor and to make sure you keep the tractor working in optimal conditions. Greasing before it gets cold out, it's a good thing to do it. You know, it's a good time of year to, if you don't do it every 8-10 hours like you're supposed to, or I recommend you do, it's a good time just to say, hey, you know, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. You know, it's a good check mark and a good time frame to really do it in, right? And also, it just helps to get any extra moisture out of the joints, because, you know, as things get cold, it freeze. And like I said, it's just a good double check there. Next thing on the list is to verify your battery. Make sure the battery is working as intended. You know, check the year, and also check the voltage. I'm not going to show you specifically how to check if it's good or bad in this video. There's plenty of other YouTube videos for that. But if you don't have a multimeter to check it or something like that, I'm sure your local hardware store, local store, you know, auto parts store would be more than willing to test the battery for you. Likely, if it's within the first 5 years of its life, it's probably going to be fine. But if you ever had a problem with it, you know, starting from cold and cranking, turning over, now is the time to address the issue before you get 10 inches of snow on the ground and need to push snow. Really next on the list is winterizing your fuel. This is probably, I would say, maybe the most important part of all this we're gonna go through today, is winterizing your fuel. Yes, in colder climates, local co-ops, gas stations and such are gonna start putting some additives in their fuel, right? But you're at the mercy of what they're mixing and how they're doing it, and trusting them that they're getting a good mixture level so things don't gel up, and to make sure there's really no moisture in it. At least the local stations around here, they really don't have an indication on the fuel whether or not it has additive in it and when it is. So it's always good to add your own. Some places will specifically label, you know, this is winterized fuel, and this and that. But here again, a lot of the big box stores running diesel, sometimes you may have some water in the fuel, and that's creates even worse situation here. So what I use the Howe's diesel treatment and lubricant. And here again, even if you are using treated fuel, this is not going to hurt anything to add it to it. I always add this to my fuel all year long. It's not just an anti-gel, it's also a diesel conditioner. So it's better on your engine, helps lubricate the cylinders. It keeps the injectors and all that fun stuff working in optimal condition. like I said, with the anti-gel, it helps to remove the water from the fuel. It said it increases the fuel consumption as well as extends the fuel filter life. So overall, it's just a good thing to use anyways, but this is the specific diesel treatment that I use. Like I said, I use this all year long, so I don't have to worry about making sure that the system is primed with it, and I've always got protection in there. Number 4 on the list is to check your tires. We know that cold weather affects air pressure, so now better than ever is a good time to check your tires. Make sure that the proper inflation, the manual will have it on it, or even on the sidewall of the tire will tell you the max or the optimal PSI rating for that specific application. Number 5 on the list, make sure your lights work and work well. You probably saw another video, I added a light bar to my tractor just to enhance the overall night vision. But here in Eastern Iowa, it's in November, and it's just a little after 5, and it's basically dark outside. And it never fails, it almost always snows when it's dark out. And then when you can't see, it makes things even worse, right? So make sure your lights work, your headlights, your flashers, all your hazards. Because when it's dark out, people can't see, especially if you're working near a highway. Make sure everything's working right so you can see and people can see you. Next on the list is look at the hydraulic lines. Here again, extreme temperatures have negative effects on things. And as things get cold, they also become brittle and non-flexible and are more likely to crack. So now is a better than ever to look at your hydraulic lines. So when you're looking at the hydraulic lines, just make sure they're in good shape. You don't see any cracks in them. Nothing is pinched. Everything looks fine. You're not seeing any dirt accumulated to them, because that would indicate some type of leak or something like that. Just give all the hydraulic lines a good look over and make sure everything's in good operational shape, and your tractor will thank you for it later. Number 7 and number 8 on the list are here again, more routine maintenance. But nonetheless, we need to check them in this situation. Getting stuff ready, because we're going to be abusing this thing. It's cold and wet and everything outside. And unless you have a heated shop to work on your tractor in, you're not going to want to be doing this stuff when it's cold anyways. So number 7, check your air filter and replace it as needed. I know they say you can blow them out and reuse them, but be extremely careful if you're going to do that. If you accidentally put a small hole in the filter, it's just going to pull dirt into your engine. And then it's going to cause, a bigger headache for yourself there, and, cause some engine damage potentially. Number 8, again, check your oil level. I do it every time before I start it up just to make sure something crazy didn't happen. I check on the floor to make sure I don't see any drips, but, things do happen. If it does burn oil, you don't know. Number 9 is check your antifreeze. Antifreeze within diesel engines, especially these smaller tractor engines, are important to watch. I've seen some people ask, how do you know when to replace your antifreeze and whatnot? And especially because it says in the book, it says to do it annually. When discussing with my local dealer, they said, hey, basically just make sure it looks okay and it tests okay, and you should be in good shape. Obviously, if benefit of the doubt, just change it out like you're supposed to and use any type of good antifreeze that would show there in your manual. I think it's any type of ethylene glycol or something like that. It's the green type antifreeze, right? Just to make sure it's a good high quality one you would use and that it's rated and diluted for your specific temperature applications. But let's go ahead and I'll grab my my antifreeze tester here, and we'll go ahead and pull some up just to see what it's rated out to make sure we're good to go for this winter. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull here from the radiator. Go ahead and stick your hose down there. Make sure you have the air out of the bulb so you don't make a mess. Stick it down in there and then just pull a big old snoot full. Get the whole thing full so you can see. Gotta get more in there. There we go. Take a look here at the little marker on the inside. You can see it's rated for, it says the well rated for its max temp, and it says it's rated for, negative 45 degrees here. So I'd say we're good on the antifreeze. It looks like. And last but not least, at number 10 is to check the fuel cup and the fuel filter. Probably the second most important thing you'll do during this. And if you're taking it off now is a good time to check and make sure that the filter's in good shape. In this fuel bowl, make sure you look at the bottom. There could be some water separation. That's really what you want to look for. Is at the bottom of that bowl, if you see any water accumulated, you definitely want to dump that out, because in this bowl is where it'll separate some of your water from your fuel and hopefully keep that all clean and good shape there. And while you have it off, if you have a new fuel filter, go ahead and throw it on. It's not going to hurt. Ideally, you would see if there was any water at the bottom of the fuel cup, and you would want to take it off and dump that out. Just to make sure it can't freeze in the bowl and break or clog the fuel system up. Like I said, here again on the bottom, some of these will have a valve that you can open to dump some fuel and water at the bottom just to make sure. But on this smaller tractor, it does not have that. So thanks for stopping in today, everybody. Hope you guys found the content informative and helpful in this specific situation. I know there's going to be a lot of other things you can do to a tractor, but these specific ones we covered today, I think, is going to set you up for success getting through your winter prep and getting through the winter in one piece, right? Here again, all the stuff we did is pretty much, I would say, common knowledge. But at the same time, if you're new to this whole situation, you may not know or what to consider when you're looking at the stuff. And really, like I said, the two biggest ones here are checking your fuel cup to make sure there's no water in it, and then make sure you have treated fuel. Those two things are super critical. Unless you have a gas tractor, you can negate that. But in this specific instance, if you're running a diesel engine, that's extremely important to make sure you have a good functioning tractor. Otherwise, you'll be cussing at yourself when you have a gelled up tractor sitting outside on the driveway or on the job when you're trying to push snow or just do chores or any of that type of activity. So thanks as always for joining in today. If you guys like the content, give me that thumbs up. That's the best thing you can do to help the channel out. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you get notifications when I post more videos. I really appreciate all the viewership so far and all the subscribers to the channel, and I'm really pleased with how we're growing the YouTube family here. So, talk before then, have a good holiday, and thank you again for tuning in to K6 Outdoors. I'll see ya.